All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Marsh Noel, Assistant to the City Manager, facilitating tonight's community teleconference. Just before we begin, if there is a member of the elected body that is with us this evening, please dial *9 so that I can unmute your line. And I just unmuted the line. If you can please announce yourself.
This is Claudine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Anthony.
You're welcome.
Okay, as it seems as though we don't have an elected official on just yet, what we can do is begin as we normally do with our staff reports, and we can recognize any elected official that chooses to join us throughout the call. Would that be okay, Ms. Anthony?
I don't believe so. We have to wait for the chair or the vice chair to come on to call the meeting to order.
Okay. So let's give it maybe another minute or two.
Okay, because I haven't received a message from anyone, and I sent out the agenda.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Noel, didn't Chair Botel have the graduation ceremony at 6 o'clock tonight for Palm Beach State?
He sure did.
Yes, that's true. It's possible that the other council people could be at that as well. I wasn't made aware, but for the sake of us being able to at least carry on with tonight's scheduled meeting, as we still do have viewers and residents that have joined the call, perhaps we can get started. Actually, I do see a hand raised. Let me see if that's an elected official. You can please announce yourself.
Roderick McCoy.
All right, so we have Councilperson Roy Stone. All right, so we have Councilperson McCoy on the line. With that being said, we can go ahead and get started. Is that fine, Ms. Anthony?
Yes, is Ms. Wynn on the line?
I don't know. Ms. Wynn, if you're on the line, if you can please dial *9. I don't believe she's reporting tonight.
Okay, well, the meeting was published, but with the elected officials, we have an elected official present. We do not need a quorum.
And
actually,
so I have another. I'm sorry, I see another hand raised. I'm going to unmute a line. That could be another one. Just in a second.
Hi, this is Dawn Wynn. Good evening.
Okay, Ms. Wynn.
Yeah. You were going down the correct line, I believe, Ms. Anthony. We have an elected official on the line. That elected official can call the meeting to order. We do not need a quorum.
Okay. Councilperson McCoy, if you would kindly call the meeting to order.
Do I have to?
That's what has been suggested by the city attorney.
Okay. Well, the meeting's hereby called to order. The meeting's called to order.
Thank you. Ms. Noel, I'll go ahead and proceed with a roll call now. Mayor Ronnie Felder, Chairperson Julia Botel, Chair Pro Tem Douglas Lawson, Councilperson Roderick McCoy.
Here.
Councilperson Kashamba Miller Anderson, Councilperson Shirley Lanier, City Manager Jonathan Evans, City Clerk Claudine Anthony is present, City Attorney Dawn Wynn.
Here.
Okay, Ms. Noel is over in your hands.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Anthony. We'll go ahead and continue with the rest of the meeting. Thank you all again for joining us for our weekly community teleconference regarding COVID-19 and city operation, and really anything that you need to know that's important to us at this time. Today, I'll be filling in for our city manager in regards to the report that he normally gives out. But we do have other members of our emergency operations center that will be reporting as usual. I do want to remind everyone that is watching us either on RBTV 18 or social media to please let those you know about this call so that they too can join and participate. and also to share this recording once it's saved to our YouTube or social media channels. With that being said, I will go ahead and start with opening remarks on some of the latest updates for us. So first, as it relates to COVID-19, the numbers are improving as it relates to the cases and what have you. When it relates to the rate of infection, but we are still concerned and monitoring a potential second wave that may occur when in-person instruction commences, more so in association with schools and what have you. The next update is that the city will have a new employee testing facility that can deliver results within 24 to 48 hours. I do have Assistant Fire Chief Kurd here on the line. Assistant Fire Chief Keith Golden here with us on behalf of Chief Kurd to provide more information as it relates to what we're doing in regards to COVID-19 and can expand on this particular employee testing opportunity. And then the next update is that we have Alpha, Bravo, Charlie shifts that have been deployed for about a week now. And so city staff is currently in a modified schedule as we deal with the current state of the pandemic as we find ourselves. Our next update is that new office space allocation plans are still moving forward. We're trying to adjust ourselves as best we can while also complying with any OSHA and CDC guidelines. Next, the hurricane preparation is still underway. We are in hurricane season. Later on in tonight's report, you're going to hear more about the status on the tropical depression that is currently overseas. And in light of hurricane season and the ongoing status of this particular tropical depression, the city is certainly working to prepare for the hurricane season and to prepare to respond in the event that we get any impacts from this impending tropical depression. And so we'll continue with providing updates as best as possible. And I'll allow our Assistant Fire Chief to expand on the details regarding the tropical depression. Next, we will be putting out public communication pieces tomorrow to the community about the tropical depression and the weather that it may bring. We will be utilizing every communication platform that we have available to us to ensure that our community is ready for whatever may take place. But given that we are now in another scenario with a potential storm, we want to remind our residents to be prepared because we are in hurricane season. And so this may not be the second time. There could be other situations that may come forth throughout hurricane season. And so we want to urge and encourage our community to be ready. And so we'll put out some information through emails, through social media, through our website, resources even that already exist online that our community can go to on riverabeach.org to look up tips that you should follow to prepare for hurricane season. And then lastly, I do want to encourage our community to sign up for city updates. Please provide your email to us through our Riviera Beach mailing list. You can simply do that by going to the riverabeach.org website. And at the very bottom where you see Riviera Beach mailing list, just provide your email. We want to make sure that you get any of our newsletters, information, and notifications on pertinent information to include information regarding the tropical depression. With that being said, I will now go ahead and turn it over for an operational report from Assistant Fire Chief Keith Golden.
Thank you, Ms. Noel. Good evening, elected officials, residents, neighbors, and friends. As it relates to the COVID pandemic, globally, we've had upwards of 22.4 million positive cases, which resulted in 788,356 deaths. In the U.S. alone, we've had 5.5 million positive cases, which resulted in 173,193 deaths. In the state of Florida, we've had 4,239,309 total people tested, which resulted in 584,047 positive cases and 9,932 deaths. In Palm Beach County, we've had 192 people tested, which resulted in 39,662 positive cases, which led to 1,022 deaths. In 3340 area code alone, we've had 1,090 people tested. Over the last weekend, the numbers have significantly decreased. The trend is in the 200s per day, down from over 1,000 a day at one point. There will be antigen testing, the rapid result testing done at the ballpark or the Palm Beaches. Appointments can be made by registering at tourhealth.com or by calling 866-416-6341. That information, again, is by registering at TOUR health.com or by calling 866-416-6341. They are operating from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. But you must meet one of the following criteria to be tested. Be 65 years or older, 18 years old or younger, or symptomatic for the rapid antigen testing. Other information to date from the EM call that we had this morning, the county has distributed $50 million in business restart grants. They're looking at trying to determine the next phase of the business assistance and what that will be. So keep your eye open for that. The daily lab positivity trend is working in the county's favor and moving to phase 2. Was another thing that we discussed on the call this morning, and the mask mandate will be extended. As it relates to Tropical Depression 13, the county EOC director advised that the forecast on TD13 makes it one to watch at this time. It doesn't look like it's going away and currently moving at 21 miles per hour and has sustained winds of 30 miles per hour. The tracking guidance is very consistent in Palm Beach County in the Kona area. Intensity models are not in agreement at this time, which can be concerning. The county will be participating on calls with state EOC and Hurricane Center and will let us know if they have any additional calls over the weekend. As a city, we're monitoring TD13 and will make all preparations needed in advance of any landfall. And we will keep you informed as we get any additional information. The earliest reasonable time of arrival of tropical storm force winds for South Florida is Sunday night, and we will see tropical storm force winds most likely Monday morning. For everyone on the call, for all intents and purposes, start making your preparations at your home now. Get all needed supplies. And for those of us who live on the east side of the tracks, the east side of the railroad tracks was open on my way home. That ends the operational report.
Thank you, Chief Golden. Next, we're going to hear from our logistics section chief, Ms. Pencil.
Good evening, everyone. This is Althea Pemso. I'm the Director of Procurement, also serving as the Logistics Chief. For COVID-19 supplies, just a brief update, we still have adequate mask supplies that's available for the public. I don't know when our next public distribution will be, but stay posted to our website and to our social media pages, and the Health and Human Services Division will certainly let you know when that will take place. Additionally, I would like to advise you all of the CDC's guidelines for preparations for a hurricane. Be sure that you have your emergency supplies. Generally, that consists of food, water, and extra medical supplies. Also, be sure that you have a plan for the older individuals in your home. Also, protect your pet and have enough food and supplies for them as well. And do heed all of the guidelines of your local and state officials when it comes to the hurricane storm. I know that in addition to being on guard for COVID, this adds to our sense of urgency. But it is important that you prepare by having your disaster supplies available. The city has already reached out to their partners to ensure that if there's any need, if there is a storm post-op, that we can take care of those needs. Thank you, and that concludes my logistics report.
Thank you, Ms. Pimsol. Next, we'll hear from our Planning Section Chief, Mr. Bailey.
Yes, this is Terrence Bailey, Public Works Director, acting as your Planning Section Chief. This report will be focused on the impending storm of Tropical Storm 13. The Public Works Department will mobilize tomorrow to do pre-storm sweeps of the city. We are currently asking all residents to suspend any heavy landscaping, any tree trimming, anything that may turn into flying debris during a storm. If you have any issues, please call 561-845-4080. If you see anything that may be of concern, call that number. That is the Public Works main line, so we can address it. We're asking all residents, again, not to park in city streets. Keep the streets clear for our first responders in the event there's a situation on your block. Last but not least, in the event the storm continues on its current path, there's a high likelihood that the Solid Waste Authority and Waste Management will not be collecting garbage on Monday. We ask that you make provision and plan, assuming that there will be no garbage service on Monday and normal service will resume on Tuesday as long as the storm stays on its current trajectory. With that, that is your planning report, and I return it to you, Ms. Noel.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Next, we'll hear from our Finance Section Chief, Mr. Sherman.
Good evening, everyone. This is Randy Sherman, your Finance Director and Finance Section Chief. First, let me fill you in on our process with FEMA. Finance staff continues to review all the records that have been submitted by the other departments. And as you can imagine, we have thousands of pages of records as each individual is required to fill out a daily log of their activities. So we're currently reviewing those to make sure for eligibility, and we're proceeding along in that fashion. Quick update on the loan program, the forgivable loan program. We're still sitting at 13 checks issued. Again, I know there are some applications that are being reviewed, but if you're still interested, there may still be a possibility to receive one of those forgivable loans of up to $5,000. Update on our utility accounts. As we have been saying for past 3 months, on August 3rd, we started going back and resuming our normal utility program as far as disconnects, setting up payment plans, and working with the customers to get their accounts updated. When we began on August 3rd, we had 1,039 accounts out of close to 14,000. So we had 1,039 accounts that were 90 days delinquent or more. So far, we have brought 436 of those accounts up to date, and we continue to work with the other 603 accounts. We have, to date, only 164 accounts that are actually shut off, as we have received no response from those accounts. And after further review, we see that there's actually no activity on those accounts. So they are, in essence, vacant properties at this time. This afternoon, we were able to have a conference call with the Community Services Director from Palm Beach County. And again, you've heard me report that the Palm Beach County does have funding available to assist not only with utility payments, but also with rent payments. The director is working with us, trying to assist our customers and making sure that we all have the proper information. One thing that he wanted me to pass along this evening, they have received thousands, as you imagine, thousands of requests for assistance. So at the end of this month, Palm Beach County Community Services is actually going to take a short breather and will not be taking any more applications. They will return and reopen probably closer towards the end of September, but for right now, they're going to shut off new applications so they can get caught up. So that gives you tomorrow and next week to put in an application. What the director wanted us to pass along tonight is a couple of things. Applications need to be done online. They've closed their walk-in centers due to concerns over COVID-19, but they want the applications done online. And they want the applicants to be mindful of a couple of things. One, the assistance must be COVID-19 related. So you have to prove that your loss of revenue was due to the pandemic. And when you go and do the applications, be prepared with all of your documentation because they will ask you to upload documents. They're looking for certain documents such as bank statements, unemployment statements, check stubs, leases, and they have to have payments due in arrears. This is not paying future payments, but it's payments in arrears. So just be mindful of the fact that you have to have all of that documentation ready when you go online. And again, the end of next week, they will stop taking applications for a very short period of time while they get caught up. And with that, Ms. Noel, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. Next, we're going to hear from our Health and Human Services Section Chief, Ms. Grimsley.
Yes, good evening. This is Valerie Grimsley, YEP Director, acting as your Health and Human Services Section Chief. Health and Human Services continue with our partnership with Feeding South Florida, which allows us to provide food distributions once a week to the community. Distribution continues to be held on Fridays at Wells Recreation from 9 to 11 a.m. Currently, this distribution is providing groceries to over 200 families per week. Tuesday's food distribution with our partner Palm Beach Harvest has been discontinued at this time, and we will revisit whether or not we need to re-implement this food distribution in September. And in a continual effort to keep our citizens safe of Riviera Beach and to complement the efforts of our city manager and city administration, 2 mass distribution drives are scheduled. One will be at Morrow Heights Park this Friday, August 21st, and the second will be at Timber Pines Park, which is also known as National Village Neighborhood, on Friday, August the 28th. These mass distributions will occur from 4:30 to 6 p.m. For those residents that have not had an opportunity to complete their census, city staff will be present to provide assistance on site to complete your census at that time. That is your Health and Human Services report. Back to you, Ms. Noel. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grimsley. Next, we're going to hear from our Beach Group Leader, Ms. Franks.
Yes, good evening, and thank you, Ms. Noel. Eladia Franks, Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation and your Leisure Services Group Leader. I have a very brief update as it relates to our municipal beach operations. Staff continues to provide daily beach monitoring services for your safety, and we remain vigilant in making sure we enforce and remind you, our residents, and all beachgoers of our CDC guidelines as it relates to COVID-19. Our beach operating hours continue to be Monday through Sunday from 9 to 5. We have our ocean lifeguards and our police personnel also present. As Ms. Noel stated, our city staff is closely monitoring Tropical Depression 13, so please continue to check your social media and city website for any beach closures. Thank you, Ms. Noel. That concludes my update.
Thank you, Ms. Franks. Lastly, we're going to hear from our Information Technology section. Mr. Parziali.
Yes, good morning. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. This is Tony Parziali, Information Technology Director. Thank you for having me on the call tonight. We're anxiously awaiting a shipment of laptop PCs that we've ordered from Dell. Say that attrition of PCs through some failures that we've had, and as well as demand has finally outstripped our supply of computers. That's really where we are in IT. One thing I'll just give out there as a warning for everyone: just be careful what you open in emails and online. Unfortunately, people take advantage of situations that are going on right now and run scams either by phone or email or showing up at your door. So If it doesn't look right, you'd rather tell somebody that sent you something that you knew, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know what that email was, rather than, yeah, I gave my bank account information and now I'm hurt. So just be careful out there. Have a good virus protection. Look at what you're getting. Make sure you know who it's coming from, and don't be a victim. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That completes our staff reports. Now we're going to enter into elected officials' questions, comments, or final remarks. And so, Councilperson McCoy, if there's anything you'd like to say, you can go ahead.
Well, thank you, Ms. Noel. Since I'm the only one on here, I think I'll probably ask all the questions, and I'm going to make you guys stay on for about another hour and a half. So let me get started. Actually, I already took the liberty of asking Chief about the testing, which I'll just kind of restate here. I don't want us to get in the false sense of security with the idea that there is a reduction in positive cases. And I'm just concerned because, Chief, I was trying to catch some of those numbers that you mentioned, but for 33404, it appeared or sounded like you said there's just over 1,000 individuals within this zip code that have been tested. Is that about correct?
Sorry, can you restate the question?
You mentioned 33404 zip code, and you said that there was, I think you said 1,000 individuals. Is that about correct?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That yeah, in this zip code, as far as the numbers that they have documented, it was 1,090 for 33404.
Okay. And that's what concerns me. Obviously, if there's a reduction, then I would think that's good in most cases. But if everyone isn't getting tested, then obviously there are some people that are going to be walking around, possibly that have the virus and is unaware and haven't been tested. So, I mean, I think this is not by no means any way that we should consider this like out of the woods. But certainly, I think just as much as the reporting, there should be, added emphasis from the county and the state level as to, doing more testing. So I think I'm not content with only knowing 1,000 people within my city. And I think we have a few other zip codes here has been tested. So that doesn't give me any more assurances, but I do appreciate that overall, just from, Palm Beach County as well as across the state, the numbers are declining. So thank you for that, Chief. I want to ask Section Chief Randy Sherman about the utility accounts. I did get these numbers. Now that we have this impending tropical storm, does our policy for collections and disconnection already call for suspension of those when we have a named storm or declare a state of emergency? That was for Mr. Sherman, if he's still on.
Yes, I am. Helps if I take it off mute. Yes, we suspend disconnects during a storm. So leading up to a storm, and then we give it a couple of days after the storm, make sure we can get back to normal. But the answer to your question is yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Sherman. It appears from what I heard you say, 603 individuals outstanding, and obviously members of the council, and I think some in administration may have gotten an email regarding the city resuming our collection efforts and doing disconnections. And as much as possible, we can always put the word out to tell people that there's assistance, or even just reach out to us. But there's going to be those folks that just for whatever reason doesn't do that. And unfortunately, we can't knock on everybody's door and remind them that they have a responsibility of paying their utilities. And not only that, worst case, the easiest thing to do is just reach out. So thank you, Mr. Sherman, for that. Section Chief Valerie Grims, since I'm looking at the agenda and it seems like your name isn't spelled right, it's missing a Y. You talked about the mass distribution on Friday the 21st at Memorial Heights Park. What time is that?
4:30 to 6 o'clock.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Sorry, 4:30 to 6 p.m.
And that's the same time over at Timber Pines on the 28th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it still the individuals from the crossing guard unit that assist with those?
I know on Friday there will be one crossing guard that will be assisting us. I am not sure yet about the Timber Pines location, but we will have one crossing guard assisting us at Morrow Heights Park.
Okay. All right. And lastly, I didn't hear a report from our legal section chief, Ms. Noel. What's going on with our legal? Surely there's something that we have to find out from legal, right?
So Ms. Wynn is actually on the line, but I believe she doesn't have a report for today. So that's why she wasn't called. Normally she is if she does have a report she would like to share.
Yes, Ms. Wynn, is there anything you want to share?
Not at this time. Thank you, Mr. McCoy.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Wynn. Thank you, Ms. Noel. That's all I have. And thank you,
right.
staff, for your diligence and hard work.
All right, thank you. And I believe I did unmute a line a few minutes ago. If it's an elected official, we'd like to recognize you. If you can please announce yourself.
Councilwoman Miller Anderson, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Ms. Miller Anderson, is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm late. We're kind of in the middle of a graduation, so I stepped away for a minute. I missed the beginning, but I did hear Mr. McCoy was asking about the cutoff, so that was good because I have been receiving some of the calls as well, and some people, I guess they're having some troubles in terms of paying their accumulated balance for their water bill. So I'm glad that question was asked, and I did miss majority of the call. So I would imagine you talked a lot about the preparations for the hurricane, and well, not hurricane, hope it's not a hurricane, preparations for the storm. And I just want to say thank you all. I know a few of us were missing tonight, so thank you all for holding down the fort and keeping us on our way and keeping us safe. I did have a question. I believe I saw testing going on over at Wells today. I didn't see very many cars over there. Was that something did they have to call and make appointments for that first? Or was that just a walk up or drive up?
And I'll have Chief Golden or Ms. Grimsley reply to that question.
Okay. I don't know, Chief Golden, you want to reply, or I can, whichever. I don't think
you can go ahead. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Today was a partnership with the Palm Beach County Healthcare District, and it was a little bit of both. They preferred that you registered online for the testing, but they did accept any walk-ups or drive-ups as well. And actually, you had to drive up and park. It wasn't a drive-through testing. It was more you drive, you park, and then they test you. But they were asking all individuals to pre-register in advance, but they did not turn anyone away.
Okay. Do we know how many were tested over there? I mean, I only was passing by a couple of times. I never saw anyone over there, so I didn't know if it was being highly utilized or are people no longer showing up with symptoms. I know they're saying these numbers are going down. I don't know how much I trust it, but I was just trying to gauge and see if that an indication that people are getting better.
I don't have the ending. I'm sorry. I don't have the ending number of how many were tested. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Miller Anderson.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of. You said you didn't have the number.
We don't have the number yet, but I'll make sure I get with Assistant Chief Golding on tomorrow and see if we can reach out to them to get a final count for you and get it back to you.
Okay. All right. I was just wondering. I didn't, I know when we bring in
these different agencies, we want to try to make sure that, they're being utilized, but we can't make people go if they don't need to go. I guess that could be a very good thing, but I want to just make sure that people know it's out there and it's there for them to use. So, and then also I know the day of voting, I saw some people trying to come out to do the food collection. The food giveaway. Will we be having that on Friday?
Yes, we are. We'll be at Wells from 9 to 9. Well, it'll be tomorrow from 9 to 11. We did do food distribution on last Friday as well. As well as doing early voting, we did food distribution from 9 to 11, and we provided additional salad boxes and different vegetables to those early voters as well.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. You all keep up the great work as usual. I appreciate all of the help. Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Noel?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Roderick McCoy, Councilwoman Miller Anderson. I think I was asking the same question regarding, is there a reduction in the number of individuals that's being tested? Because I just have this feeling that literally what I'm hearing is there's not as many people getting tested now as it was, a month ago and 3 weeks ago. And then obviously there's still a delay. So that is, my same concern. Are people actually getting better, or is there a reduction in the actual countywide testing that's being administered? And obviously we know that there was at some point, and I think maybe still, a backlog on the turnaround for the testing. So I just don't want to have or even give a false sense of security to the individuals in the community and the county that, we're some kind of way in a safe zone. I think is very much still something that we have to be concerned with, because regrettably I'm hearing from nurses that work in the ICU units, and they just started noticing a slight decline in the census counts of those units, but it's mainly they would estimate over 80% populated by Black and Hispanics. So I don't want to take this chance of thinking that we're out of the woods. So and I kind of heard you kind of touch on that. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that I had kind of started the conversation with asking that question.
Good. Yeah, and I actually passed by 15th Ballpark this morning, and they weren't as busy as they had been in the past as well. So I just hope people continue to, wear a mask, wash their hands, and continue to social distance, and not, assume that, everything is okay again, and then we, put ourselves back in a situation we aren't trying to go in.
Yeah,
thank you all so
I
much.
agree, Councilwoman Miller Anderson, because I noticed the same thing. Literally, it used to be a line that probably stretched a quarter mile trying to get into the ballpark over there, and now it doesn't even exist. So, I'm concerned that this is not really a true representation of the actual population that's infected, and it's just individuals have slowed down on getting tested. And then, Chief Golden, since you're on that number, if you have it readily available, I know our population in Palm Beach County is $1.4 million. Not $1 million, 1.4 million people. Do you know how many have been tested in Palm Beach County?
Yes, sir.
I think I may have mentioned it.
The amount of people tested in Palm Beach County is 300,192 total people tested. That resulted in 39,662 positive cases for Palm Beach County.
Wow. So that was, in my opinion, doesn't even seem like that's about a third of the population. So, by no means is this something that we should, take our guard down for. So thank you for that. And again, I would encourage, just like, our health professionals, CDC, as well as the other, county and government and state government agencies, is to, always maintain that same level of concern about spread of this COVID-19. That's all I have. Thank you, Ms. Noel.
All right, thank you. All right, so that completes our question, comments, and remarks from our elected officials. But just before we end the call, I think Councilperson McCoy made a clear point, which is that we are not out of the woods yet. There is no cure for this particular disease, and so we want to keep that in mind as we get through the remainder of the year. And so we highly encourage our residents to please follow CDC health guidelines, wear your mask, keep your social distancing, and continue to wash your hands. This is still a transmissible disease, highly transmissible, and so we want to make sure that you are still taking this seriously for the health of you, your community, and your families. With that being said, we look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday, same time, same call number. So please be safe and